So, my name is Sebastian. I'm working for Old World Computing. We are a small consulting company with a very strong expertise. Well, in average, we have a 10 years experience in data science. Don't ask for the variance. And we just, we are a very young startup company. We just really started this month, so last month. Now we have September. And beside the consulting, we are complementing our consulting services with some development of extensions for our preferred platform, which is obviously RapidMiner, mainly to support our consultants in the field, so that they, if they have a very complex task that you could, of course, solve with the RapidMiner process. If you have been at the game show, you know RapidMiner processes can simply solve every single task you ever will encounter, but it's probably more efficient to make an operator for that if you have the problem more often. And actually that makes the platform more powerful for everybody of us, which is good for the platform. So what did we develop so far is a statistics extension for RapidMiner, which is really a great tool for data mining. It has a lot of functionality in there. It has a lot of functionality for data pre-processing, actually, which is also very important. However, there are many situations where you need descriptive statistics. So as a data scientist, or especially as a data miner coming from computer science, descriptive statistics is something you smile about. So why should I do a t-test? Sorry, what do I get from that? Yeah, well, it's a starting point if you just want to explore the data, or if you just want to have a description of the data, what you want to present, especially to someone who's not a data scientist, right? So correlations are well known, not always understood, but well known. There are t-tests, and all of these concepts are very familiar in the end users and consumers of our results. That's a perfect situation to call me. So many times it's useful if you especially want to improve a solution that's already there, that contains descriptive statistics, to build something better using predictive analytics, using data mining, and still present the same descriptive statistics to the users, so to collect them where they actually already are. So now you could ask, why should we integrate that on RapidMiner? Well, there's R, there's SPSS, they are brilliant, right? So they have every single statistic options that you can imagine. But actually, if you want to include something like R in RapidMiner, you always have a hard time with the maintainability. Always, if you have an external dependency in your tool, you will increase the maintenance effort. So there's an update for R and for RapidMiner, and you always need to make sure still both operates. You are transferring your process to a different computer, a different server. There's not R installed or a different operating system. All that is really pain in the ass in the practical use. If you use SPSS, which is brilliant tool for social sciences and for descriptive statistics, but you need to pay for it additionally. And of course, what RapidMiner is really strong at is the simplicity, how you can automate tasks, right, and deploy it on the server. It's just very easy, and you don't need to code, which is in contrast to even SPSS. If you want to automate that, you have to code as well. So that's our reasons why we wanted to develop a statistics extension, and I will just show you what it does, right? Perhaps I first show you how you can get it, because it's not yet on the marketplace, but if you go to our website, you can simply go on products and get more information about the statistics extension, and especially download the entire thing and then just install it. There's also an installation guide how you can do that manually. So I will go to RapidMiner now. What a tiny resolution is that? Okay, and we'll show you how it looks like. If you have installed the extension, you will see that you get okay. You would see that you get an additional a package and group of operators. You see it here, and you can simply choose from them as from every other operators. So let me take a look and start with a data set. So let's do some descriptive analytics of a data set. First, let's take a look at the data set itself. It's a very simple data set. Just have some information about our customers, like the gender, which we might have extracted from NumZor. We have a payment method here. We have some numerical information like the age and stuff like that. And for example, we could be interested in there, do the payment methods differ between the genders, right? And what you usually do in a very simple way is you're doing a cross table. You know what a cross table is? Who knows what a cross table is? Wow, okay, that's good. More than actually bagging and boosting. So what we can do is we simply go here to descriptive statistics and then say extract cross table. And you drag it here on the connection line and it's automatically connected. And then you see here at the very first parameter, you just installed the demo version, okay? So fine with that for now. And then we select simply two attributes. That's basically the two sides of the cross table. And I now want to have the gender against the payment method. And I execute the entire process. And I get a very simple cross table where we have the gender here and the different payment methods over the attributes. Well, okay, that's not really helpful so far. Perhaps we can want to have more totals. So how many females and males do we actually have in our data set? So there are additional parameters where you, for example, can say, okay, generate totals so that we see them. Or if we have weighted examples, we can also use them for counting. And then we also have the count, the totals here. And we can also make that relative. So there are different options to design the cross table. The important fact is you get back this cross table as a standard example set, so it's pretty easy to integrate that in any web application, into web services or whatever. You just drag it in and have a data set, and you can continue to work on that with the usual operators. So now I want to make a cross table against the age. So usually, if you do that, there are several discretization operators in RapidMiner, but one option was missing, and this is to discretize by the quantiles of the distribution. And you see I just add this operator, which is has the standard parameters for the discretization operator, so we select which attribute we want to discretize by quantiles, and then I say how many, so like that. And you see you get also the standard ports, the transfer data set, the preprocessing model to apply it later on, but also an additional data set which we will take a look at, which gives you basically the quantile information. So where are the boundaries of our quantiles, or what are our quantiles? And afterwards we can build the cross table with the age against the payment method, and then we simply have the cross table about the deciles in this case. Okay, just some stuff. Of course, you can, if you're just interested in the quantiles, you can also extract them simply. What I really find useful is the extract histogram operator. You all know that you can create a histogram in the graph chart very easy, but if you want to have that in a web application, it doesn't really work because you can't use an HTML5 chart then. But if you have the extract histogram operator, you simply say, I want to have the histogram of, for example, age. You can say how many bins we want to have, let's say 10, and then I just get a data set. Again, a standard data set we can work on that has all the interesting information, the frequency, but also things like lower and upper bound, which can be quite handy to have this information. Okay, so of course, we all know correlation, right? Widely used thing. And there are some additional correlation methods in the statistical extension. So RapidMiner itself has a correlation matrix, but we added some other algorithms here. You also can get a covariance matrix, and it also has more outputs. So you also get the p-values and the associated errors also as a matrix. And you can also select now which attributes you want to include in the covariance computation. RapidMiner standard implementation just uses all of them. Oh, so now we have hit the first time actually the demo size limitation. If you want to activate the extension, you simply click here on this button, and you enter a license key plus your email address. And if you have a valid key, you can continue to execute the process. So it's pretty easy to install, right? Yeah, what we see here is the standard correlation matrix. I think this is pretty similar to RapidMiner. But what we added is another operator that comes very handy. It's here on the tools. Now you can transfer or transform a matrix back into an example set. Very handy if you again want to include that in a web service or in the web applications. And there are two representations of that. One is you get really the matrix as a white table, and the other one is you get them as a pair, as a list of pairs. So every single cell becomes one row. And you can also just drop the diagonal ones because we know they are always one, right, in the correlations, for sure. So I just drop it. And then we see here is the pairwise comparison. So for every single cell, we have the information age against support calls is a certain value of the matrix. Why is that useful? Because now if we are interested in the largest correlation, we simply can sort this pairwise table. Say I want to sort decreasing, and afterwards I can use standard filter example range operator to just get the biggest correlation, for example. And if we do so, we now find out that age and, what is it, customer since age is highly correlated. Yeah, I guess that was probably to expect, but at least it works. Okay, of course, we have some other things here, and there is a number of statistical tests inside the extension. So if we want, for example, want to know whether the age is different of our female and our male customers, we can use some, for example, tests of the means, which is, for example, the t-test. You see there different versions. They all do it a little bit different, but work in the same way for the user of RapidMiner. So I won't show every single one. What you now need to provide is basically two data sets, the two groups of samples we want to compare, actually. So how do we get that? Yeah, we could use now a filter example operator and split it, but it's even more simple, and that's the most useful operator in the entire extension, I think, because you need it, once you know it, you need it everywhere. There's a split data by group. You simply select a number of attributes, in this case just the gender, and it will generate for every group one data set. And you can also get the data set as collection. So now I have the two groups here, one male, one female, and then I have the t-test. You see, you can also check on this homoscedasticity, I can't pronounce it, or whether you want to have a one-sided test, whatever. You have a lot of options here. And if I execute that now, I simply get the result, so the t-test result for every single attributes in the two data sets about the means, the standard deviations, and also, of course, the t-statistic, the p-value, and whether this is sufficient to say there's a different mean. And you see, no, there's a very high chance for all of them that the mean is just different by random. So again, standard data set, again, you can post-process it as you wish to publish that. There are, of course, some other tests, like, for example, for not about numerical variables, but about nominal variables, like, for example, the chi-square test, which I can use now to compare, for example, whether the payment methods are different. Oh, yeah, in 6.4 I would have gotten an error now. Now I need to see that myself. And then you see, again, the same structure of results, so it's pretty easy. Most of the time looks the same for all applications. So this is the, and if you want to know why split data by groups actually is the most important operator, you should take a look at our website. I published some small news article about that, how you can creatively misuse that to win the next competition and solve a lot of projects, actually. Right. And that's actually the current feature set of our small little extension. If you have questions, you can ask me now. If you have questions later, just write us an email or use the contact form. If you have feature requests or have other comments, just feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.